What's up, guys? So today we're going to be going over how we caught that fucking Google trade today. Absolutely went insane, right? We got 500% gains, 700% gains, some even up to 1200%, right? So let's go over the trade. Let's just dive literally right into it, okay? So first thing, of course, Google had earnings yesterday, right? Now, these are some of the biggest companies in the world, right? The FANG stocks: Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google. So we have to take a look at how the other stocks did during their earnings, right? Netflix had a great earnings, we know, the other day, right? And we can see that when we look up the report, right? They had a great earnings. It was after hours on the 19th. The 20th, they dipped a little bit, but they closed right at support, right? And the next day, it just took off. Now, what is the telltale that this is going to move? Well, if you take a look, right, you could see that it was pretty much flagging, broke out towards into earnings, right? Squeezed up, and then it kind of rejected the next day, had a little bit of sell-off, was only down about 2%, right? And then the next day took flight. So this is because usually a lot of institutions, they want to see how other institutions digest the news, correct? And you'll see that the next day, it wasn't right away, but the next day throughout the day, there were a bunch of upgrades, right, from different analysts. Now, usually when there are upgrades that come out, the stock will usually run the next day or the next 2 to 3 days, depending on which institution's buying, right? And how the market trend is. Market was still strong, right? The Qs were strong. SPY was strong, so it's a good indication to long. Tesla, same thing, right, guys? We had earnings, took a little bit of a dip, didn't really move at all. Next day flew, next day flew. Next day after that, they got the Hertz order and it flew even more. It took a couple days for Tesla actually to get those analyst upgrades. So those are really important to watch. Now, how do we pick targets? Well, you guys know how we kind of did the Netflix trade, right? Basically, we look for a breakout of this area. We know if it breaks here, it'll run to at least 650, right? Because that'll be a new high. So that's what we did here. We played like 650 contracts on this break, which was how we capitalized last week, right? Now, how we capitalized this week on Google is what? Well, we do the same thing. First, we have to look up the earnings report. All you have to do is simply type in Google earnings report. Right? Go down, you can get better news from different places. Let's just use CNBC. Better than expected quarterly profit and revenue. Now we have to look at the percentages, right? So we just take a quick look. We see, boom, advertising revenue rose 43%. Advertising revenue is one of the biggest set, what the fuck's the word? Can't even think of it. Advertising revenue is one of the biggest portions of their overall revenue, the overall revenue that Google makes, right? Because these are all Google ads, people running advertisements on YouTube, etc., right? So you could see YouTube ads rose to 7.2 million. Google ads rose to 53 million from 37, right? So 43%, it's a pretty good increase, all things said. Cloud revenue was a little bit down. I think that's what they've been trying to work on. And TAC 11.5 versus 11.16. So they pretty much beat across the board, right? Which is very good. Also, what are they doing? They said down here that they're adding 6,000 employees, or they added 6,000, in this third quarter. And in the fourth quarter, they're looking to grow even more, right? So that's all bullish signs. So then what happened? We got a bunch of analyst upgrades that came in on Google, right? But you could see the next day, again, today, let's take a look at the chart. Earnings came out yesterday. It took a little bit of a dip, same thing, and then it actually opened flat. So guys, all we're looking for here is, remember, on the daily chart, right, we just want a clear break above these MAs, above the 50 MA here and the 20 EMA, right? This is our resistance before earnings right here. But if you guys zoom out to the weekly chart, what does the weekly look like to you guys? Same thing kind of as Netflix was setting up, right? We have a little bit of flag action going on here, right? We're looking for a breakout upwards. So we knew that Google would smash. Google's the best in class of all the FANG stocks, so you could easily see a big run up and a big push in this name. It always consolidates for quite a while longer than the other names as well. So how do we pick targets for Google? Well, again, we know that if we smash through this weekly level here, right, above this 2820 or so area, that we will fly to where? Where's the next resistance, guys? Here, right, 2880. So we know that we can pick what? We can pick an out of the money strike somewhere around there, because if they have a good earnings, they're obviously going to push and break to what? New all-time highs, or at least near it. So that's how we went with this 2830 option at the open. And we even went for $3,000 calls because why? We have 4 days for the stock to run up. Remember, we opened some $3,000 calls. I think it was right around either here or here. I'm not too sure exactly. But why did we open those calls exactly, guys? Let's just take this this point here, right? Google only needs what? A 4% move to hit that $3,000 level. Remember, these only costed $1, so that means to break even, we only needed to hit what? 3,001 on Google by Friday. Is it possible it can continue to run up 4% by Friday? Of course, right, guys? And why is that? Well, Tesla, right? Good earnings. What did they do, guys? Upgrades, huge run up, right? 12%, insane. What did Netflix do, guys? Same thing, 4%, 2%, 1%, right? Big runs in these names, okay? And again, Google has been consolidating better than most, so that's why we took this type of trade, and this is how you're able to capitalize on these moves, okay? Now, how do you handle runners and how do you know when to trim? Well, this is pretty easy, right? Let's just play the day out. Okay? So remember, we were entering on a break of this resistance here. We're going to use the 5-minute chart. We'll play it out nice and slow. So we entered right here, right? This is where we entered, 2830s. Or I think we might have entered in the middle of this candle somewhere. Okay? 2830s, we enter here. Now, we're still riding this out. Where am I looking to put my stop loss? Okay, we made new highs. What is the low, guys? This is our low. If we go below here, we're going to close the trade. We're still riding. Okay, we made new highs. Now, where's our next low? Here, right? Which is a previous high here. Same thing. Also, if we dip below here now, maybe we'll think about closing the trade. Boom, new highs. Now, if we go below here now, we're going to think about closing the trade. You could use this. I don't know if I'd use this here. I'd probably use the highs here right now. I don't think I'd use just a 3-bar, but I think it's going to line up with the same. Now we're flagging again, guys, for another move up. So we want to see a break above this level here before we raise our stop. What do? 20 EMA curls up, right? We're flagging, right? We're making a flag here. We're looking for a break above. Consolidates for quite a while. And boom, this is where we get stopped. So I wouldn't really have even been stopped throughout the day until what? We broke down here, okay? So this is how we're able to continually ride these contracts, guys, and raise our stops. And you can see by this time, you're just purely in the money, okay? So you're only losing that intrinsic premium right here. You're only losing, $21 on the contract. Now, of course, that's a lot, right? It's $2,000 per contract, right? If you're in the money, but keep in mind, if we exited here, right? Let's just say we entered here. If we exited here, we only captured $47 of the move. If we exited here at the highs, we captured 108. So nearly 2.5 times the move, right? So that's how we capitalize, guys. And then I think we took this play here. We thought we were going to get a breakout, right? So we played it again to the upside. Somewhere, I think it was here. Actually, we played it to the upside. Again, we entered a new call here, but we got stopped out on that. So we stopped out of both right around this range here. So this is how you're able to capitalize and continually hold runners, okay, until you get stopped out. You're going to lose some profit, of course, rather than trimming. But guys, if you trimmed, you trimmed here, let's say, you trimmed here, where you want to cut that rider? You want to just basically hold it until it drops down, because why? Guys, what could Google still do? It could still continue, right? It could hit that 3K target, right? We still have Amazon earnings this week. What if they're good? So it's up to you guys how you want to risk profit. But during the day, that is how I would play it and how I'd raise my stop. So I wouldn't have got stopped out, excuse me, until right around 3 o'clock or so. Right around here, 3 o'clock, 2:30. And that's it. So yeah, that's pretty much how we capitalize, guys. You want to pick out of the money strikes only when you're getting a big move, right? And your target is possible, right? You want to be able to see that on the daily chart. If you break key levels, right, that you're going to be able to fly higher. You want to see on the weekly chart that the stock is still strong. Is there a catalyst behind it? Yes, earnings, right? And that's pretty much it. It's how we fucking make 500%, 300%, 200%, 1,000% on these out of the money plays, okay? You want to always risk a little bit less, right? Because again, you're playing an out of the money contract, but it only takes what? One of these to hit, and it makes your account, 2x, literally off of just using what? Maybe a 3 to 5% of your account. You know what I'm saying? You guys can really run up a bag on these contracts. 1,000% using 3% of your account. You literally make right off the rip, what, guys? 30%, right? That's huge, just off using 3%. So that's pretty much it. We're gonna look for the same type of play tomorrow on Amazon, or excuse me, on Shopify, right? How would we play Shop, guys? Well, Shop's sitting right here at a support, right? Bounced at the 200 today. We want to play it back to where? Probably back to the 50, 1450 or so. So if Shop has a good earnings, what are we going to do? We're going to look at the 15 minute. We're going to play a break of what? This level here maybe? Run that shit up to where? This will be the next resistance, 1412 or so. 1425 then, and then from there we fly, maybe 15 plus hopefully, right? 1470 here. So we'll see. But that's it, guys. Hope you guys learned a little bit from this, how to ride positions, how to analyze earnings calls a little bit, and play them the next day. Cheers.